Hey everyone, so I wanted to go ahead and film some quick looks with the new Nomad palette. If you haven't seen it yet, here is the outside cover. It has this really lovely texture on it, kind of like an impasto on a painting. The back has like a little card with information on it. The unit carton, is the same art on the front and back. The back gives the information that is typically on a Nomad palette. So it talks about the colors, the location. It says fiery autumnal hues mixed with cool mountain and lake tones, formulated with extra fine pigments for beautifully blendable colors and rich payoff. Hopefully that plane isn't too loud for you. Infused with Camellia japonica oil to help make skin silky smooth, 9 vivid mattes, and 6 luminescent shimmers inspired by the beautiful fall foliage at Mount Fuji and its surrounding lakes. So the destination is Mount Fuji, of course. Let's see. Autumn in Japan is a festive and colorful season as changing foliage moves across the country, and the popular pastime of momiji gari, which is hunting red leaves. A fantastic destination to see these brilliant hues in the Fuji Five Lakes region. A sight to behold, there is the clear, cool lake waters surrounded by fiery red maple and golden ginkgo trees, perfectly framing the iconic snow-capped cone of Mount Fuji. The juxtaposition of warm and cool, light and shadow beautifully captures the season's transitional nature and the rich beauty of autumn in Japan. And this palette, like all Nomad palettes, is going to support some nonprofit, and the one they're supporting this time is the More Trees Conservation Association. As all Nomad palettes, this is cruelty-free and vegan, no parabens, phthalates, or mineral oil. Cruelty-free and vegan, and 12-month shelf life, if all of that is important to you. The inside of the palette, well, it's actually this way. Is you see the Mount Fuji on the inside. It has a center row of like the light and bright shades. There is this kind of powdery blue matte in the middle, a powdery blue, almost translucent, iridescent shimmer on the top, and this, I feel like it's like a slight translucent iridescent shade, but it does have a little bit more body than this one up here, and this is a rose gold. And then there are 4 kind of teal shades, teal blue. You have 3 reds, a kind of like a neutrally warm like camel shade. And then of course there are 4 golden yellow shades there. I did swatches. I did have some difficulty with a few of the mattes. They felt very hard pressed. The ones specifically I had trouble with were this one here that is Fuji Goko. I had trouble with this one, Mount Hoi, and I had trouble with yellow poplar right here. This one also was a little hard pressed, but I didn't have as much trouble with that, and that is Koyo. So otherwise the mattes I think performed as typical Nomad mattes did during my swatches. I did talk with my friend Colin, Queer Bones, and they said they had no trouble with the mattes on their eyes. So I think that just kind of shows you that not every matte is meant to be swatched. Some mattes are just swatchy mattes, some are eyeshadow mattes, and these are probably just going to be better for the eyes. So eyes have already been primed with the NARS eyeshadow base. I'm gonna go ahead and get into this. I'm just gonna do 2 looks. I'm gonna do one kind of like everyday look, like what I would wear to work, and then I'll do one that's a little bit more fun. I've got all of my eye brushes are the Danessa brushes. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get into that now. I think for the first one, I'm gonna do the everyday look, like what I would wear. Like when I open this palette, what is it that I'm gonna reach for if I'm on my way to work? And that's obviously gonna be Red Rowan, this brown shade there. I would normally just like take this and probably put that on the outer corner of my eye, and then just kind of like add a little color to my crease. So it's been a while since I filmed with anything. I'm honestly not even sure where this is gonna go, if I'm gonna put it anywhere. Let me go ahead and bring that camera a little closer to me. All right, there you go. Sorry if the lighting's not amazing. I'm just using natural light right now. But anyways, what I was saying is I haven't filmed in a while, mostly just because I'm really not interested in doing YouTube anymore. I am also just like trying to take care of my mental health, and I feel like there's a lot of landmines for me on social media. A lot of things that make it harder for me to protect myself. My main issue is overspending. So, sorry, let me pull that down a little bit. Okay. It's okay. This matte is fine. I think it's just it's really close to my skin tone. So I think it ends up just looking a little bit, it's just a little same. So it really isn't showing up very well. But I think honestly, like that makes for a perfect like everyday shade. So if you're like my skin tone, then you're getting like a decent like crease shade. Like honestly, if I was just trying to do a look where it's just a little concealer and a little bit of like contour to the eye, like I feel like this would be a good one to go with. It's building okay. It's not like getting too deep or anything like that. It's not patchy. It's blending out decent, I'd say. Yeah, I think it's performing fine. No issues with this. It's, I think honestly, it just looks a little deeper in pan than it is looking on my eye. Okay, so I've got my crease built out. Now, unfortunately, there are no like neutral deepening shades that I can use in here, which is normally what I would do. So I'm actually going to just take I think I'm gonna go with the deeper red on a smaller brush. What I'm gonna use? I'll use this little pencil brush on this deep red right here, and use that on the outer corner to create a little bit of depth. I think the darker teal would have been another option to use for this, but let's stick with some warm tones here. So that is not looking as deep on my eye as I was hoping. It's looking a little pink, a little magenta. So I really wish that it pulled a little more red. That is a problem I have with red eyeshadows. I don't know if it's like a me thing or if it's like for everyone. When I say me thing, I mean like because of my undertone to my skin. But I find that reds tend to be very pink on me. When really what I want from a red is more of like an oxblood experience. Okay, well, I'm not thrilled with that. Yeah, I really wish there was like a deep neutral tone here. Like a really dark brown would have been nice. Or even like a really dark orange. So I'm gonna go back in with that first shade, which is Red Rowan. Oh, by the way, the name of the red matte that I used here is Momiji. I'm not the best with pronouncing things, but I do watch a lot of anime, Japanese animation. So I feel a little more confident pronouncing these shade names than some other destinations in the past. Specifically anything like Spanish or like French. That French palette, I was like so bad at pronouncing the names on that one. But okay, that's looking better. I don't want to use the red shimmer. I would never wear a red shimmer to work. So I'm going to go ahead in with the rose gold, the pampas grass. And I'm going to go in with my Pat McGrath eyeshadow base for shimmer. All over my lid. Pat that out a little bit. Now, normally when I do my eyeshadow for work, I actually start with the shimmer and then just use the mattes, like basically where I put the mattes now. I tend to not cover my entire eye with mattes. I tend to just use mattes as like the outside part of it, but I wanted to see how it'll work this direction instead. And I'm going to go in with Pampas Grass, like I said, this shade right here. I'm going to go with my finger so you can see it is a very reflective rose gold shade. And I'm just pressing that on my eyelid. I would say this might be a little reflective, a little bright for what I would wear to work. It's not bad. I think if I was to wear this to work, I might go in with a whole matte lid and then put this over so that it has like a little bit of that matte base underneath it to kind of dull down the shimmer. Another option would be to go in with a brush so it's getting more of a lighter application. Okay. All right, so this would be kind of like a work look that I would do. Yeah, I actually do like that. I think to complete the look, I would probably go in with this little pencil brush here. My brushes are dirty, I definitely need to clean those up. I would go in with probably this first shade again, the Red Rowan. And just bring that underneath to create just a little bit of depth under my lid, a little bit of color. But again, like I said, this first shade is very close to my skin tone. It's almost like a contour tone for me. So I'm not getting too much depth under the eye, which is what I would prefer. So honestly, if I was to wear this out, I would need to grab a different palette to add a little bit more depth here and a little more depth under this outer corner of my eye. I think to finish this off, I'm gonna go in with, I'll use this one again, this yellow shade in the top corner, Golden Ginkgo. I'm gonna go in with this shade here, just like the tiniest amount, and put it on the inner corner here. Not too much, just like a little whisper of color. And then bring it up a little bit into the crease to marry those colors together. So you're probably not even seeing that, but I see it, and I think it's like a nice little touch. Okay, I'm good with that. That's really pretty. All right, so I'm good with that. I'm gonna go ahead and take my big brush here and go into Yellow Poplar. It's this shade right here. because I really want to blend out my crease just a touch. I'm feeling like it's a little stark of a crease. In person it looks better, but on camera it definitely needs a little help. I find that interesting. Sometimes things look one way on camera than they do in person. Okay. So that yellow shade kind of blends out to nothing on me. But I will say it does help the other crease shade really like blend out nicely. So, all right, that's my first look. Now the second look, I'm gonna go into the blues. This eyeshadow, this eye is already primed. And this one, I do have an option for a deep shade, so that makes me happy. And this one, I'm gonna go in with a different type of brush, more of like a stamping brush. I'm gonna use this type of brush, like a flat shader brush. Again, my brushes are a little dirty, so my apologies, but I'm using Mount Hoy, this one right here, this matte. This is one of the shades that I had trouble with when I was swatching, but it seems to pick up very nicely on the brush. Let's see how it performs in the eye. Now, some Nomad shades are, like, I do get fallout, but that's because some of them are like really powdery. This one, I'm not getting much fallout at all, which is really nice on a blue. These are just my sunspots, it's not fallout. And look how much pigment I got on just like one soft little tap with my brush. So I think Colin was right that it was just a matter of the swatch on my arm versus actually using it on my eye. So I think that's enough depth in the outer corner. I'm happy with that shade. And now I'm gonna go in with this other blue here, Fuji, this one right here. Oops. Oh no. Here we go. Okay, I'm gonna wipe this off though, because this was what I used before. I wanna make sure it's clean. All right, perfect. So Fuji, let's use that. And this is what I'm gonna use to like blend out this and move it into the crease. So I don't wear blue eyeshadow a lot. Blue was one of my favorite colors when I first started eyeshadow. But I quickly realized that I much prefer more neutral tones. Like, I'm cool with a blue shimmer with like neutral mattes. Like, I'm a huge fan of kind of creating a neutral, like skin toned kind of contour with my mattes, and then that's okay. The blend is decent. It's not the best. Anyways, I like to create kind of like a neutral skin tone contour with my mattes, and then I'll go in with like a colorful shimmer. And honestly, the kind of colors that I use are more like grungier tones. I really like Terra Moons because they have a lot of options for more gray and grungy based eyeshadows. So I'm getting like color, but I'm also like, it's not bright, which I don't really like too many bright shades. It's okay. I mean, blue is notoriously difficult for me to wear. I'm not like the most comfortable with this, so like I wouldn't say I'm the best judge of blues, but I would say this is okay. It's not my favorite. If I was to use a blue, I would prefer something that is, I don't know. This just feels a little patchy. Let me go in with a little bit more. I'm gonna go back into that shader brush. Maybe this will help. And let me like pack on some color. I will say like this shade, this Fuji Coco, was the worst one when it came to the swatching. It was the most difficult to get like a good swatch with. Okay, so the brush really makes a difference. Like I'm instantly getting like better pigment on that. But that also means like I will have, if I use this, I would have to like change how I do my eyeshadow, which I don't always love to do. I'm gonna try to blend that out just a little more. And honestly, I feel like I've lost a lot of the depth from that first shade. They're basically like the same shade now. So I'm gonna go back in with Mount Hoy and create a little more depth there. And then I'm gonna take that depth just out a little bit. Onto my brow bone. Okay. It's fine. Not my favorite. Yeah, they're a little patchy, but could be my brushes, could be my application technique, could be a lot of different things. So I'm gonna go in with another blending brush. This one's a little bit smaller. And I'm gonna go in with Mount Fuji, which is this kind of powdery blue. And I'm gonna use that on the inner third and try to bring that out. And I'm actually gonna stamp this at first to get as much pigment as possible out of this. Oh, that's nice. That's some really good pigment there. Okay. And now I'm gonna take that and blend that into the darker shades. Okay, that worked out nicely. That was really easy to do. I really like a powdery matte formula, if I'm being honest. I really like Termoons and Divina mattes because of how powdery they are. I think that they just like, they work so much better than like a hard pressed matte. And I think that's just where my comfort level is. Like I know how to work with them. Okay, I'm gonna say that's good for now. I took a little bit more of Mount Fuji on the outer part here. Okay, and now I'm gonna go in with a shimmer. So I've got kind of like three options here. If I'm going to go monochromatic, I've got this shade. Let me show you. Kawaguchiko. It's a little squishy, but not bad. It's a little silvery blue with, I'd say, a hint of purple in there. And then there is Yamanakako, which is a like almost like a midnight blue. And that also has like some sparkle in there, multi-dimensional sparkle. And then I could also go in with Diamond Fuji. I think I'm gonna use all three perhaps. Definitely Diamond Fuji on the inner corner. And I think I'm gonna use Yamanakako on the outer corner. And then let's just see what happens with that. Let me wipe this off. Okay. Going back in with the Pat McGrath eyeshadow shimmer base stuff. I like this format. The only thing is, like, if you're using it on a matte, it is like, I just don't like how it works on top of mattes that are already there, which is why I tend to put my shimmers on first. Tap it out. Okay. Now for this, since I am doing 2 or 3 shimmers, I'm gonna actually use a no, changed my mind. Okay, let's go in with Yamanakako. So it's this one right here. So this is probably not something I would ever wear to work, but once in a while I do like wear blues. Like I said, I used to be really into blues, but I don't know, something changed within me, and I realized that I just wasn't that into wearing blues. Interesting. Okay, this is very interesting. So the mattes on me, the mattes definitely lean more green. I can see like a very definitive green where the matte is. And this, the shimmer, the Yamanakako, is definitely more purple blue. And that is just, it's odd. Like, I think I would have preferred the shimmer to be green leaning as well. Anyways, and now I'm gonna go in with the Kawaguchiko on the center. This is definitely brighter. It's kind of like a blue version of this shade right here. It's got that like same luminosity. But again, it's purple leaning. So I'm a little disappointed that the shimmers don't like match the mattes. Like I don't need it to be like matchy, but I think like if I'm gonna do like a crease with the teal, I really wish that it had been, I wish there was a more of a corresponding shimmer that would work with it. I don't know. Okay, now I'm gonna go in with a brush so I can get like the accuracy that I want with Diamond Fuji. See how this goes. That's really pretty. Let me try my finger this time though. I personally don't really like using a brush with most Nomad shimmers. I think they tend to pick up better with a finger. In my experience, using a brush with most Nomad shimmers tends to like press it down a little hard and make it more difficult to pick up in the future. And I was finding that true with the Diamond Fuji when I was using a brush. It seemed to like press it down, and I just don't like that. So that's why I switched to using my finger. Not bad. I'm not mad at that. Yeah, it definitely looks more green. The mattes definitely look more green than I was hoping them to compared to the shimmers. So that's just a little weird for me. I'm gonna go back into Fuji Goko, the shade right here, and kind of blend out the crease a little more. So anyways, okay, so this palette comes out on Monday. I think that's the 18th or the 19th, or the 20th, honestly, I have no idea. But all that information's on Nomad's page. They did send this to me in PR, no obligation to post or anything like that. I was bored today and I wanted to kind of go in and do this. It's been forever since I've done anything like this. I was thinking about doing a live on Instagram. I jumped on for a second, but no one was showing up. So I was like, I'm not gonna just sit here in a live by myself. So I'll just do some kind of pre-recorded thing and just throw it up on YouTube or whatever. Because this is already getting to like 30 minutes and I'm definitely not gonna edit any of this shit. So, much better blend. Okay, so I used for both these looks, let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 of the 15 shades I used on these two looks. First impressions. I don't think all the colors work well together. I think as deep as this looks, it looks very like pale there. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead, before I give my like, before I say that, I'm gonna clean this brush off real quick, this packer brush, and see if I can get more depth with this red. Since I had a better experience with the blue, maybe it's the brush. I'm still getting pink. Like, it's deeper. It's definitely deeper, and it's definitely packing on better with this brush, but it is still pink to me. It's still like a pinky red, and I really wish that it was like deeper. So, all right, so let me finish blending this now. Going back in with red Rowan to blend that out a little bit more. Okay. Sorry if I'm covering up my face too much. I haven't done this in a while. Okay, much better. All right, so back to what I was saying. This just isn't as deep as I would like it to be. And it's a little, it like really applies really pink. I really wish that this was more muted or more like, I wish there was more brown into this red. Didn't use this red, so I have no thoughts on it. This one is kind of like my skin tone, but a little bit deeper. So honestly, like, I do like it. I think I will reach for this a lot for just like building a crease. I think it does a really good job of creating like a natural shadow for me. So that's an A+, love that shade. This shade here, I had trouble with it. It's a little hard packed. I did have a better experience when I used a packing brush. But I tend to not use packing brushes with my mattes because I prefer a more soft, subtle shade. So it's okay. It's not bad. It's just, it's not my favorite. This shimmer, fantastic. I really like it. I will say it has a little green to it, but it also has like a little purple to it. But honestly, I don't think it is green enough compared to how green this matte is. I wish this pulled more green or this one pulled more green, because currently they're both more blue and more purple than both of these mattes. And I think that's just a misstep. This shimmer is gorgeous, very pretty, very, very pretty. I think honestly, I'll be pairing these two together for like the next week at work. I think that's gonna create a really lovely work look for me. And then maybe like a little bit of this in the inner corner or something like that. This shade, I was very surprised with how well it packed on my eye. It is probably one of the powderiest shades of the whole palette, which again, I like a powdery matte, so that's actually just a positive in my mind. This shade is surprisingly so good. I've had issues with Nomad's like iridescent shimmers in the past where they just feel very dry and crumbly and they don't have like lasting power, but I think this is like one of their better iridescent shades that they've done in a while. This yellow was kind of a not there tone on me. I used it a little bit to blend out the brown matte, but it honestly just like kind of like disappeared into nothing. And I had trouble with it when I was swatching. I think this shade and that one were like the two most difficult shades for me to use, for me to swatch, and I was not as I was not super happy with the performance on the eyes either. So I'll try it again a few times, a few different techniques. But you can even kind of see like how there's like this sheen on the mattes here. That's the indicator of it being hard pressed. Let's see, this one was fine once I used the packing brush, but again, it's just not deep enough. There's something about it where it looks very deep in pan, but on my eye, I don't know. It just doesn't look as deep as I want it to. And also it pulls a little green compared to the shimmers, which I already said a dozen times. This shimmer I do think is gorgeous. It's just like I said, the tone, I wish it was a little more green. If this was like a more greeny version of this, it would be fantastic. If you look closely at this shade, it has a lot of multicolored sparkles, which I think is really something that Nomad does very well with their shimmers. They tend to do a lot of those multi-dimensional shimmers. Not like duochromes per se, definitely not multi-chromes, but like multi-dimensional shimmers. So we're splitting hairs here with that definition, but this shimmer I just used on the inner corner, and it is a nice, simple yellow. Honestly, it's kind of like a baby chick, like a little chicken kind of yellow, which is fine. I do think it's a little odd compared with like all the other shades in here, but it does fit into the theme of like autumn leaves. So I guess that's how it fits here. Even if it doesn't necessarily work with the shades. I personally don't like mixing reds and yellows too much because it's very ketchup mustard, and that's just not something I'm interested in. Didn't use this shade and didn't use that shade, so have no thoughts on them. So yeah, that is everything. I will take some pictures of these looks and include it on my post when I get that up. Thanks so much for watching. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. Thanks so much for stopping by, and thank you to Nomad for sending this to me so I could share my thoughts with all of you. All right, have a great day. Bye.